Hello team, how you getting on? You've been out, you've been bagging, you've been fishing. What you've been up to, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you've been getting up to. Autumn's well and truly here now, isn't it? Woolly hat time. It was 4 degrees I think when I got up this morning. We're on the edge of starting to think about getting frosts again. Not that much rain still in this part of the world, which is pretty worrying. You know, we need these rivers flushing through. We need plenty of water for our still waters as well. Daytime not too bad, sort of 10 to 16 on a good day. Still lots of high pressure. That's probably why we're not getting the rain, so it's making fishing slightly trickier. Today there's been quite a heavy fog in the morning, and it's a cloudy day. I fancy it for a few. Now, you might remember last time on the video a week or so ago, we did the deep water fishing. Conditions were a world away. I think it was 18 degrees, it was boiling. I mentioned on that how I've really enjoyed quite a bit of success fishing dead red maggots on commercials, in matches specifically. I've had some lovely days fishing, and today I'm going to go through that. Now, we are coming to the end of the tactic as in aggressive feeding, but there's no reason why this won't work throughout the winter if you adjust your ground bait mixes, which I'm going to talk you through, and obviously you feed less particles, you feed less dead maggots. You also might need to adjust where you fish in relation to your peg and your swim in terms of depths. So normally if you were fishing towards an island, you can go right up into 12 inches, fish the way that I'm talking about. In the summertime you can feed heavy, rich ground bait. Now we're just going to fine tune our mixes a little bit, and we're just going to adjust where we're fishing in the swim, but it should still produce bites. So let's have a little look. I'm at my club lake today. As I've said in the past, there's no point in me going to a venue where it's absolutely rammed with fish. When you're pleasuring, you're just going to catch whatever you do. It's a false economy. Let's come to a tricky lake just to demonstrate that if it works here, it literally works anywhere. So let's have a little butchers. Here we go, peg 11 I'm going to choose today on the point of an island just there. Now you can see just how low the lake has gone. You can see there, I mean, it's pretty sort of desperate. Reason why I've chose this dead maggot situation works really well up against islands. I said on the last video, I believe it's due to the fact the fish think it's bloodworm. Bloodworm you're going to get under features, so underneath pads, those lily pads, you're going to get bloodworm growing over on that slope. So 2 areas I'm going to fish. First of all, on the point of the island just there, find a little bit of depth, and then this second bit in amongst these snags here, a little bit further off so I don't get caught on them. And of course I could go down there as well, but we're getting a bit silly. We need to be careful with these ropes. I put them up the other day because it's cormorant season of course now. I just need to finish the rest of the lake across here and on the other straight on the other side. But there's a colour to the water, you can see there's a nice green. Now when you've got that nice green colour, that means I can get away with a coloured ground bait. A good colour to complement green is red, and that works perfectly. Dead red maggots, red ground bait. Let's get some mixed up. Okay, let's talk ground bait. Now in the summertime, when the water's very green, there's a lot of algae, the fish are feeding frivolously. You want something heavy but will also create a bit of a cloud to attract the fish in. Matching the hatch, red ground bait to dead red maggots. I use F1 Supreme, Miracle Baits F1 Supreme. It's the red version. It is made of 3 different types of pellets, which means that they sink at different rates and behave a little bit differently as well in the water. Perfect. If it's bagging, I might big pot a couple of these. It depends where I'm fishing, especially down the edge. If I'm fishing across, I tend to always just feed through a cad pot. So that's some dead reds and capped off with the ground bait in the shallow water, just fishing for 1 fish at a time. But as I say, we've got a nice colour today, but I'm nervous. The weather is on the change, absolutely. So I'm going to go for probably my favourite, which is the red pellet crumb. Now you can see that's the last bit I've got left. I must go and say, Tony, I need some more red pellet crumb, but I'll mix that with the normal pellet crumb as well. It would still be enough to dye the natural coloured one. So I'll make a little, probably not a lot today, I reckon about a pint. Don't need a lot of bait at all, just to go through the cad pot, and I might feed some down by the lilies. Now when the colour does drop out of the water and it's getting clear, as I said before, there's no reason why this tactic won't work. We just refine everything. That's when I'll change to F1 Supreme Black. So the frost start hitting, the fish are slowing down, they're not stirring the bottom up like they were, there's not as much algae growing in the water, it starts clearing. We're going to start moving into slightly deeper water. I'm going to use a darker ground bait, which of course is still going to give that little bit of attracting cloud. Still made of 3 different types of pellet, but do go easy on this. Tony, we need a dark version of pellet crumb. We'll have a chat about that. So that's the mix, the mixes that I use. Now the final secret, which I think, it's not a secret, but I think this makes a difference. It gives me confidence, shall we say. And that is this. I said, I believe red maggots attract the fish because they perhaps think that it's bloodworm. I always had a good glug of this with my dead reds. It's census bloodworm additive, essentially. It doesn't say, it's all in French, doesn't say how much you should ask, it just says it's, there's a little bit in English. Highly attractive ground bait booster, dilute arrow mix into your ground bait 10 to 25%. Well, I don't put it on my ground bait, I actually put it in with my dead reds and then add a little bit of water to keep them moist. So that, I believe, has made a little bit of a boost to my fishing, or certainly to my confidence. Let's have a little fish. Okie dokie, we're just about to make a start on the bait tray. It's as simple as you like. Got 2 pints of dead reds. I'm not going to use all of them, so just put a pint in there. Glugged with that bloodworm additive. Some live maggots just as a change bait. They're on the turn, they're all scabby. And then that's that mix of 50% red and natural pellet crumb. That's only a pint. Look how much it fluffs up. So we're going to feed that through the cad pot. So rig wise, we've not got a lot going on in terms of depth at all, but for down by the lily pads, 0.4 of a gram Ray Golding float. I covered these off on a recent tackle review. So it's a power margin, I think he calls it, or a power Chianti. It is orange Drennan power pull. Really important as well, you can see the cad pot is one of the new quick release Guru ones. That's important for when you're fishing across and also in shallow water. Making sure nothing's clogged in there and it comes down in a nice sort of column. Literally a bulk of, I think it's, what is it, it's like 4 number 8s, 4 number 9s above the hook length, and it's 0.20 line, no messing about today. 0.17 hook length and a size 14 Kaizen hook. So that is for down the edge, just sort of in that little hole there. Now across, probably about 2 foot down there, across in the shallow water for 15 inches, it's a Matrix mudline pole float, again 0.4 of a gram. It is a 4-inch hook length, it's 0.20 line, it's 0.16 hook length with a size 14 LWG. And this elastic is 14 to 16, I think that's frenzy, just slightly softer in that shallow water because I'm going to be fishing across there, I'm going to hit them and I want them to swim out nice and safe. Same depth just across here as well, sort of 15 inches or so. So I'm just going to plug the bottom of that cad pot with dead reds, cap it with that nice with that nice pellet crumb, and see what comes along. I've stuck a keep net in, we don't usually allow them at the minute because it's so low. That will just be for any silvers, don't want them disrupting the swim. What is the target today? A double figure fish would be good, but if not, just a couple of decent carp would demonstrate the effectiveness. I think, as I said before, it's a very tricky lake. We're not going to bag up. We might get a bit of a mixed bag if they come onto that, and tension bits and pieces we can stick in there, but just a day's fishing, just to demonstrate the method. Let's go. Right, I think I'm going to start across. I'm just going to start with 4 dead reds on this size 14 LWG. I'm just going to maybe sort of 30 or so maggots, dead reds, at the bottom of the cad pot, and then just cap it with that pellet crumb. Got to break down twice here because of the otter fencing, but that's fine. Now I'm not going to be silly and start feeding all over the place. I'm literally just going to go in here. I'm not going to feed over there just yet. And I'm on line with that post. And just to the right, where it starts shelving off. And that's gone down lovely. So no issues in sort of 15 inches of water. We'll probably be able to see anything decent come into that. It sort of shelves up, so it depends how they swim in, but if they're swimming around the island, we'll see. It just might be a bit too nippy. But I think this will demonstrate there's still colour in the water. Water temperature is still at 14 degrees. Let's see. And if you hear a lot of noise, there's a tractor in the field behind me that's going up and down, trimming the hedges, ready for the winter. So very, very noisy. Okay, just whilst we're sort of waiting for a bit of activity then, my first chuck, let's talk about this method. I wouldn't tend to feed and fish this in water over sort of 3 foot. I have done margins that are 3 or 4 foot against islands or features. I have done, and I've wetted the ground bait a bit heavier so it gets down to the bottom a bit quicker. But when those fish come in, you know, it can be a bit messy if they come in any numbers. That's why I try and just fish for a couple at a time. You can imagine what one waft of a double figure carp's tail can do to your peg. It will spread any loose bait on the bottom all over. So you try and keep it tight and compact in shallower water. But I have done, and it has been successful. I have caught fish, but ideally up to 3 foot maximum. And what I'm doing now is, because it's a bit chillier, I'm not expecting loads of fish to come in one at a time. I'm not just going to keep topping up trying to attract fish. The bait's there, it's on the deck. If some silvers come in and start picking off the maggots or whatever, then I'll refeed. We need some more bait, need a bit more attraction. But if I do go and feed again, I'm going to give this 10 minutes. It won't be with any maggots, it'll just be with the pellet crumb. Again, just trying to get a bit of attraction and scent in the water. So I'll give this 10 minutes, no bites. I'll then open up that line against the island there, against the vegetation, and start the process again, another 10 minutes. So it's a little bit like, imagine if you was fishing a feeder and you're doing sort of 5-10 minute casts. We're doing that. On this, when I come here to this lake, I tend to just use my margin pole. I use this as a margin pole, this Garbolino. It's nice and strong. And big fish in here run up to probably 12-13 pound. And in this shallow water, they really do go. So if I do hook one, 2 things I need to be aware of. 1, the fish running around the back of the island. And 2, running to the right into these pads. Okay, I guess the benefit of this shallow water is when a fish does come in, it really clouds up. Now, what are we, 5-6 minutes into this first chuck? I'm just being patient. There's a fish there. I can see it's clouding up, and there you go, there's a tail right next to me float. So that didn't take long at all. And I believe that's a combination of the 2 things. 1, the pulling power of the pellet crumb. Try saying that when you're drunk. And the dead reds mimicking natural food like bloodworm. You know, for October, chilly days in very shallow water, that's incredible that it's attracted something in the swim so quick. I'm just hoping that it's going to get its head down. There's a little touch. I don't want to foul up this. I need a positive bite. There it is. Oh, it was a little roach. I nearly sent it to the moon and back. Try again, let's see if that carp's still about. Still clouded up the bottom. Here we go. Sorry if you can't hear me due to the tractor. It swam straight into the net for me, brilliant. So that didn't take long at all. What was that, 10 minutes maybe? And despite a couple of perch spoiling the party, I've only fed twice. He's not the double figure fish that I wanted, but what a lovely looking common carp, probably around 3.5, maybe 4 pound. Let's pop him back. Right, hopefully you can hear me a bit better now that that tractor's gone, but it's incredible really. The sun's coming out, just making things nice and pleasant. Less than 10 minutes, I've fed twice. So around 30 maggots initially, capped with the pellet crumb. Nothing for a few moments, and then all of a sudden, tails were up. And I get 2 little perch spoiling the party, but then I've had that nice common. There's tails up again, still. And that's incredible because there's not that much bait down there. In fact, I'm not even going to feed at the minute. I'm just going to see if I can't get a bite. Right, let's have a little look on this line. I'm taking a section off. I'm just going to drop it in next to that muck there. The water feels a bit clearer there. Small fish again. Hold on a minute. There's lots of carp now on my original line. You can see at least 3 fish feeding. So I might have to... I thought them silvers would have mopped everything up. I'm not going to feed anything. 4 dead reds. Yeah, there's a fair few carp come. I can't believe it. I've only actually fed, what, twice? Well, they've been fishing sort of 15 minutes. Right. Now, in amongst them all are still these silvers, so the carp have not bullied these brash silvers out of the way. There's at least 2 or 3 carp feeding there now. There we go, there's one. Now, this feels a bit bigger, so we have to try and avoid these lilies. Because the water's so shallow, it's probably only 3 foot down the middle. They do pull back a bit. It's another common. Similar size to the last one. Oh no, bigger. Yeah, this one's bigger. This one will be 5 pound. A lovely looking fish. I doubt it's ever been caught. Let's try and show him to you. It's still full of life. There we are. Look at that. Yeah, he's probably 4.5 pound. Something like that. A torpedo. Let's pop him back. So that's 2 in 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And I've only fed twice. I'm going to try that short line now. Now then, there's fish kicking up mud on this short line. Now I've only fed this once. Let's see. Something's just spooked, but I can see the bottom's all cloudy. See if you can see that just there. The cloud that's kicked up underneath the float. And just over there, it's going crackers, where I've only fed it twice. This is the problem, look at that. Just another small fish, see if I can shake it off. No. Okay, so we've had the 2 carp, another small fish. And because I've seen some clouding up on the line against the island here, against the foliage, I thought I'd just have a quick look, and it's clouding up there as well. So we sort of split the shoal. We've got carp occupied there, we've got carp on the corner there. And I've only fed 3 times, a lot of small fish though. So I've only fed this one once, and I've only fed over there twice. Maybe 3 times, I can't remember, but not a lot anyway. But there's a lot of silvers that are getting involved. Right, let's have a little bit of a recap here, what's going on, because my head's baffled, I'm surprised. So, I think I've fed twice, maybe 3 times long. I've had 2 carp. I've fed once here, off of the island, and it's stirring up like crazy. So, I'm going to have another look. I'm going to have a look next to this island, but there's a lot of silvers about. I can't believe that the carp aren't bullying them away. I never expected this. I always thought this is a very tricky water. Even pleasure fishing, it's not easy. I thought maybe we'd get a couple of fish and maybe a big old lump. But I'm surprised. I think they must be having that sort of feed up before winter. Right, I'm dropping that straight in over the feed that I've just put in. The bottom is churning up like mad. I can see a fish's back just there. Seems to have gone a little bit calmer over there. I imagine they've mopped everything up. And maybe they've now moved here. Maybe I need to feed them regular to keep that shoal split. Let's see, it'd be quite nice if I can get one off of each line. And then we can have a look down the edge, well, down into the lily pads as well. I can't see anything churning up there, but the light's a bit iffy. Now what you could do in summer, when if you was catching steadily, is you then rotate between the 2 lines. Split your fish purposely, so you're not getting too many in your swim. Catch one, feed, catch one, feed, and do it that way. That's a slightly better silverfish. Actually pulling out my elastic. What is that perch? Yeah, greedy perch. I'm going to use the old disgorger on that. I'm going to go on my original line. Because I think we've already demonstrated the tactic, I could try a few different things today. I could actually fill it in, put in some big cups. See what that does. There's a fish right next to me float, straight on it. There we go. Not really had that, it's shot under. You might notice only small fish. You might notice I'm actually fishing a short kit. Well, these Garbolino poles, they offer these power, one-piece power margin top kits, and they're great. That's a small fish, but nonetheless. Again, it's another, what is that? It's quite chunky. That's probably, actually saying that, it's probably not far off of £3. Let's pop him back. So in the space of half an hour, oh, we've probably had, what's first one, 3.5, second one, 4, £10, half an hour. Here we go. First fish on this shorter line. Ooh, that's going straight down the lake. Got to be careful, it's not going for these pads. Let's give it a little bit of teddy. You can see that on that camera. You might be able to see it on the action camera. There we go. The pole's a bit sticky. Okay, he's only a little fish again, but all good. Carp number 4. Dead reds. Again, oof, he's about 3.5. Again, beautiful common, lovely fish. Again, I don't feel that has ever been caught. Let's pop him back. Right, where we are, a little situation update. So we've had 3 carp where I'm fishing now. I've had 1 off of the island there. It went a little bit nuts. There were too many fish knocking about. So I've just had a quick 5 minutes down by the lily pads to my right. Just a load of perch. You know, you can stick a lump of paste on, or double worm, something like that, or even an 8mm pellet to avoid these tiny silvers that, can't believe the carp aren't bullying them out. They must be ravenous, these little perch especially. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to just fish the dead reds like the purpose of the video. I think we've already demonstrated how powerful the ground bait is and the combination with the dead maggots. I say I'm convinced that it mimics bloodworm, and you just got to get the fish in. I can actually see a couple feeding down there. The only thing I'd say, I'm not disappointed. You know, it's a chilly day, autumn, and we're catching a few fish. We're getting our elastic pulled, which is great. On what is notoriously a tricky lake. I'm really surprised today that these fish have come into such shallow water. I thought I might get 1 or 2. The only, not negative, but the only thing is they do seem to be a small stamper carp. I was hoping to get one of the big lumps that live in here, the double figure fish. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So I think, I mean, I've only been fishing about an hour or so. I don't really need to prove much more, I suppose. Let's just have a quick look down here. I think we just fish away. Let's see if we can get one for you here now. Here we go. Another small fish, I think. It's like a ghosty type fish. Yeah. Another lovely fish. And that's pretty much had that down. A couple of pound. Very, very nice indeed. Was that number 5 or number 6? Just had a thought. I'll put this keep net in to try and any silvers, keep them out the swim, catch them and keep them out the way, but it's making no difference. There's that many out there. So let's just sling these back, because actually it's in my way when I'm playing the fish. So, I mean, that's just, you know, let's get rid of them. refeed, have a cup of tea. I've got a slight adjustment to my rig, I think, to make, and then keep going. Right, gang, I hope you enjoy this video, because I've had a disaster. I've knocked over my tripod with my camera on. Not a problem, it's waterproof, but no. There was a little accessory attached to it, which meant that there was a hole water can get into. So that is my camera buggered. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish up anyway. I've had a few fish. There's still plenty, whilst that's been going on, there's still plenty of fish over in that corner, which is unbelievable. I've hardly fed anything. I've probably fed 5 or 6 cad pots, that's it. So what I'll do is I'll use my phone. Sound might not be great, but the joys of being a basic videographer, should we say. Right, let's get fishing, catch you one more and call it a day. Right, so while we've been trying to dry things out, no bait's gone in, so let's have a little top up. There are still some fish over there. What I've done, a little tweak to the rig, I've added a little bit of depth, just an inch, and I've spread out my shot, which means now I can just sort of feed a little fish in and sort of draw it up that little shelf, and it's not going to be not registering. So now it's going sort of down, and we'll do a couple of shots on the deck, and the line will be nice and straight. Not too sure how much you can hear me on that, so we'll just have to hope, especially with this bit of a breeze. But the sun has come out, and it's quite a nice autumnal day. I'm not going to bother now with the margin, with the lilies. There's too much activity going on, cameras falling in and all sorts. So we'll leave that. There's too many perch anyway. Just try and catch you one more final fish to call it a day. No, that's up to itself. That's up that on the drop. This pole is really sticky. Have you got any tips to loosen up the joints but not too much? Pop it in the comments, because maybe just use the pole more, I guess. This feels a little bit bigger, I've not seen it yet. They've all been sort of £3–4. Possibly the best of the lot so far. Yeah, it is. It's going to be sort of £5. Feisty one. Another feisty, pristine common. You see they're long and slim because of this shallow water. It's probably nah, he'd be £4 of it, £4.5. Last fish for you. Lovely fish. What a beautiful fish, nice golden colour. No monsters today, but another beautiful common carp to finish the session. So I think we've proven dead reds, miracle baits, pellet crumb, great combination. Cheers for watching.